But let's talk about next steps, and then we can open up to questions. Thanks so much. Any questions?
I think it's your name, Andre?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah. So you had mentioned as part of your assessment the financial literacy component.
Yeah, so in the camera assessment tool, there is a component that does deal with finances. I think Michelle talked about it a little bit. For example, if you have a purchase order that you have to complete as an employee, there's some finance math in there, adding prices, finding the percent for taxes and for shipping, things like that. So that finance component does find itself a little bit. I don't know if I would go so far as to say it's a complete financial literacy component, but in the locally made tool by David Pilmer, he did a measurement section, a finance section, and a time and resource management section. And so in that finance section, for all levels 1, 2, and 3, it does give a lot more detailed questions, more well-rounded, so you get the math that you would see in the finance component in there as well.
I found it interesting that anecdotally it seems to me that there's a little bit of a lack of financial literacy, not just for employability skills, but even just regular life skills.
Oh, absolutely. And I know there's a lot of programs. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Money Matters, but they do a program that anybody's welcome to bring into their organization, and it talks a lot about budgeting, banking, and saving for the future. And there's also like Canada has their own resources online that you can take out from. So absolutely, I think that's another piece that really needs to find its way into our programming, because as shown just in this pilot project, that has been an area of weakness of the learners. Even though they may be good at math, they don't always make all the connections, and so, or maybe they're a little too reliant on calculators, and some of these assessments don't allow for a calculator. So it's one thing to be able to trust in your calculator to do the math for you, but another to, or trust in yourself to be able to do it.
Yeah, I do a lot of research, and it's a little bit selfish of me, but I'm wondering if through these assessment tools it's possible to get at some kind of database of how people are doing.
I'm going to give that question to Kara.
I think that if there is an ROA, I mean, there will have to be a collection of data, right, on learners coming through the program. But I mean, it's still, as we've been saying over and over, it's still in a developmental stage. But yes, eventually there will be information to be garnered from the data that's collected. Yeah.
I'd like to hear more about the partnership with employers and how that's going and what they're saying and how many employers will you be able to do.
Well, we're working with Capital Health currently now. We're working with the Nova Scotia Boat Builders and the Atlantic Home Builders. And the most in-depth work we've been doing, and I've been working with Meredith Hutchings, and we've been kind of building profiles with Capital Health. Within Capital Health. So for example, we're doing hostess, bulk hostess, tray line, assembly line panners working within the hospitals, housekeeping, floor care specialists, night cleaners, all these positions. And it's been really excellent. We weren't sure how the employers would, how they would grapple with the framework. And in fact, they take the document, they want it, they read it, and they like using it. Which is fascinating. The employers like using the document. They're able to extrapolate based on the performance indicators and the skill levels what level of text reading or document reading, and what level of document writing and reading and writing and finance and measurement their employees need to be at. And so what the process does is it helps them understand that they don't necessarily need a grade 12 of a worker with grade 12 to do these jobs. And by breaking down the jobs into the skills competencies that I showed you in the framework, it's actually a real learning experience for the managers and employers.
So is there a plan to be able to roll out and how to bring employers up? Is there coinciding pilot plans of how to, because I know it's just a hard role to help employers see things in a different way than.
Yeah, I think the plan is still in development. We have our eye on some money from the federal government to develop a program that works both with pre-employment programming and technical training. So using, I'm using Paul's term here, wrapping soft skills and essential skills around kind of the skills and the framework around the technical skill training that they would receive in pre-employment programs, but at the same time working with employers in those specific skills that we're training for, so that we can build profiles. And then at the end, you'll have assessments of individuals coming out of these programs, and you have the ideal ROA profiles developed with employers. And it's just a slow process in terms of branching out from boat building, Atlantic home builders, and bringing on board people from the healthcare, hospitality, et cetera. So we have our eye on expanding the program itself, but it's slow. And of course, we have to, on the other side, develop the ROA process, because right now, we're very much kind of circling back and taking a look at what the process and the NIST's framework, and kind of shoring that up before we kind of continue on. Thanks so much. I'm really sorry if we didn't get to all of your questions. Please feel free to approach us at any time and ask us your questions. But I'd like to thank, and Labor and Advanced Education would like to thank the assessors and partners at SEC for their continued commitment and support of the ROA pilot, and really the ideas behind it, despite all the challenges that we've faced. And the participation of assessors and learners and their feedback in particular are now and will be vital to the success of the project in the future. So thanks so much, everyone, for participating, and for our partners for the hard work they put into the pilot. It's really, I think, bearing fruit, and I hope that we can move forward with as much success. So thanks so much.